Well, the circus continues, doesn't it? The circus thinking that there's actual justice in America. Are you joking? You know, in San Francisco, an animal's life is worth more than a woman's, especially if she's a white woman killed by a minority. You don't like it? Well, the Kate Steinle case was very unsettling to me, and a lot of people, everyone saw that it was definitely a miscarriage of justice. In fact, I sent a note to my attorney, Dan Horowitz, and I said, wait a minute. It seems to me that this is a guaranteed jury nullification case. The defense told the jury that it's a nationally important case and then said, would you oppose a non-guilty verdict if Donald Trump didn't like it or something like that? The case can be thrown out immediately. I have never seen anything like this. The prosecution should have objected when this so-called defense attorney said that, but the prosecution did not. The judge should have jumped up and shut him down. The judge did not do that. The case was a lock from the beginning. Most of you don't care. I know that. Honestly, I do know that. Trust me, my stethoscope is about as accurate as it gets in radio and the media. I know most of you don't care about Kate Steinle. It bothered me for 3 days straight. She's not a member of my family, thank God. But enough is enough. Everyone I talk to out here who has a conscience knows that this girl died in vain. And they know that Jose Inez Garcia Zarzalate is a cold-blooded murderer. And do you know if he shot a sea lion, the punishment would have been a $100,000 fine and a year in jail? But for shooting a girl on a wharf who dies in her father's arms and says, Daddy, help me, he walked out smiling like in The Godfather. Yeah, that's one of the stories, but I'm not going to talk about it. I've already done it. I did it on Twitter. I did it on Facebook. I did it on the Savage Nation. I wrote the article. It's on michaelsavage.com, so I'm not going to do that. A couple of other things that are bothering me that I want to talk about. What is talk radio, actually, when you think about it? What do we get paid to do? Think about it. Does anyone ever step back from the microphone, all these high-paid talk stars? They ever step back and say, wait a minute, what am I being paid to do? To talk about Mueller day and night, Trump day and night? I'd rather cut my wrists than talk about Trump anymore. I can't take it anymore. I didn't 5 million years of evolution for me to evolve as a human being to talk about Donald Trump and Mueller. I'm not doing it. I'm rebelling against it. Because if I start talking about that, I'll go right down the rat hole of how could he be giving up all of the wildlands of the West to the greedy pigs who are going to chop down the trees and mine the earth and disturb all the Native American burial grounds. You want me to support that garbage? I'm not going to do it. And by the way, since I'm going down the rat hole of disgust and contempt for the downturn in this nation, you remember a few weeks ago I led the charge against importing elephant trophies, lion trophies from Africa, and Trump finally came to his senses and said he's going to look into that thing. Well, I don't see any final judgment on that thing. You all forgot it already? The elephant killers, the lion killers, the ape killers, the rhino killers, what they get to him again? Well, I'm not going to talk about that either because it's too agitating. So what am I paid to do on radio? Agitate myself and you? Am I just a paid agitator and read ads and that's it? That's what my family through the ages survived: hunger, plague, pogroms, disease, immigration, emigration. They survived so I can sit in front of a microphone and be an agitator? No way. Never. That's not my job. My job is to somehow elevate the dialogue in America. But every time I do it, I know what happens. I know you go to sleep and turn on probably a high school dropouts radio show. And you think that he's the Holy Grail because he speaks to you on your level. I mean, you think I'm talking down to the audience, you're wrong. I've had enough of this garbage of just simply saluting Republicans, Donald Trump. First of all, I never did it. I'm an independent. Secondly, I don't like the direction the country's going in. You can take a note on that one. So I'll tell you what I want to talk about. I saw another story, yet another accusation against yet another man who cornered a woman and pulled his penis out. I asked guys I know, did you ever know a guy to do that? And I thought, I never met a guy. But then I said, wait a minute, I did know a guy. I can't mention his name. He's not important. He never became anything so far as I know. But I recall many years ago, He took his thing out at a party, and I swear to God, and he turned to a woman and said, do you know what this is? And she looked at him dryly and said, oh, yes, a penis, but smaller. But she didn't win $30 million. Those are the old days. She laughed at him. She humiliated him. She said, yeah, that's what she said. I'm not going to repeat it over and over again. You got the joke. But it wasn't a joke. It actually happened. He's the only guy I ever knew who did a thing like this. What is this with all these guys with doing this? So I was thinking now, what are the indicators in this kind of thing, in avoiding men who would make for a bad husband? What are the indicators for avoiding a woman who would make a bad wife? So I was going to do that, and then I was going to do Trump People's Report Card on Donald Trump, and go down the list. I may do that anyway. Drain the swamp, he said. F. Not only did swamp dwellers, do they still run the place, he hasn't got rid of Obama holdovers. So he got an F on drain the swamp. He said he'd build a wall. Look at Trump's war. Build a wall. He hasn't even gotten a brick yet. They haven't decided what kind of wall it will be. F. Deportations, he's got a B. His campaign rhetoric has stopped a lot of illegals from coming in and made some leave. ICE seems to be doing his job, but sanctuary cities still exist, so he gets a B on deportations. Taxes, his big victory. Not for me, it isn't. I'm going to pay more. A doctor will pay more. An accountant will pay more. A small business owner will pay more. We got screwed. The only people who won were the giant mega corporations. Do you know that? You understand this is one of the greatest jive artists in this situation. In my life, I never saw anything like it. No, we did not get a tax relief on it. We're paying more. Infrastructure. He talked a lot about infrastructure. He's built nothing, not a road, not a bridge, not a tunnel. Remember he was on this show? Tariffs. He talked a good game about a level playing field against China and the other countries. Not one tariff. So what has he done that's right? Well, Obamacare. So far, the good thing on that, the individual mandate is out. That will effectively kill Obamacare. So that's a B. Guns, he gets an A+. He hasn't taken our guns away. Military spending, A++. The military-industrial complex, 1. Abortion, he gets an F. Still funding Planned Parenthood. Foreign policy, I don't know how to rate him on this. Jared Kushner as ambassador-in-chief? I didn't even know this schmuck before the election. Who is he? What is he talking about a Middle East peace? What does that Pishika know about Middle East peace? Nothing. Nothing. A New York metropolitan left-wing fanatic is going to tell us that he's going to solve the Middle East crisis by giving the Palestinians a nation so they can kill Jews? I give him an F on that. Foreign policy, oh, God. Opioid crisis, wait a minute. It's over. Kellyanne Conway is going to save us. She has no background in science or medicine, but she's the new opioid czar. Terror, war on terror. We give him an A on that. ISIS is all but destroyed because Russia and the U.S. got together to kill them. And the generals are leading the battlefield decisions. So he gets an A on the war on terror. How about abortion? That was once a big topic for Christians. Haven't heard a word about it since he became president. F, still funding Planned Parenthood. So that's the opening so far. I got it out of my system. Now I can go on to what I really want to talk about. You got a joke about size of you-know-what. You got a report card on Trump. You got the fact that in San Francisco, a wild animal's life is worth more than a white woman's life if she's shot by an illegal alien. You got your money's worth. So goodbye. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow. No, I'm just getting started. It's only 12:15 out here. That's 3:15 over there on the East Coast. I remember we used to say out west. Now I say out east. Live in the East, they're so regiophobic or regiophilic. They thought that anyone outside of New York didn't exist. But no, we're in a different time zone. So around the world, it's 15 minutes after the hour. I have another question for you. What is the compelling reason to buy a copy of God, Faith, and Reason? If you bought the book, and many of you did, okay? If you bought the book, if you own the book, if you read the book, I've been really soul-searching about books and writing and publications lately. And I said to myself, of all the books I ever wrote, they're all worth buying, or I wouldn't have written them. I mean, I can tell you every last one of them had information in them that I thought was critical to the reader. Trump's war was so necessary as a roadmap to what he was supposed to do for us. You know, it's not even a year yet. Maybe he'll get some of it done. I don't know right now. It doesn't look too hot. So Trump's war, yes. God, Faith, and Reason, there's an absolute reason to own that book. But what is it? I'll let you tell me. 855-407-28. But I still haven't gotten to what I'm going to do yet. And I'm going to give you a hint at it. I'm going to give it all to you in the beginning. Because your attention span is so small. It is so narrow that unless I capture every part of your brain, you'll be sure to leave me and go listen to, well, who's left in the media? Let's see. Who got burned last week? There's no one on NPR anymore. He's gone. And the music conductor got burned. Geez, you see all those guys getting thrown out now? God, one after the other. I can hardly keep up with them. Matt Lauer, don't know who he is anymore. Who was the other one? Oh, Met Opera suspends James Levine. I call him Levine. It's an interesting thing about Eastern European Jewish names. When you're a nobody, you say Levine. And then when you become a big shot, it becomes Levine. They change the pronunciation. Met Opera suspends James Levine after new sexual abuse accusations going back to 1968. How is this even possible? How is this happening? So I started to put together a constellation of all the people who've been thrown out from Harvey Weinstein on, and I actually figured out that Harvey could make a great movie now. If he did a movie just about molesters, he could have the music score written by James Levine. He could be interviewed by the guy from NPR, whose name I forget. What was his name? He could go on the new Today Show, which is called the Yesterday Show, by Matt Lauer. He could make a new set called Yesterday by Matt Lauer. He could have a pseudo-intellectual like Philip Rose. What is his name? Rose? I don't know his name. Rose something. Rose. Charlie Rose could interview him on a fake set. Unbelievable. I mean, it'd be a good movie. And the script could be written by who? Well, I don't know. We don't know who's going to get it next. When I come back, I'm going to read you a scene from the novel called Indignation by Philip Roth. I mentioned this book once before, but this scene between the mother and the son, when the son is in the hospital and he's in love with a girl in college who the mother doesn't like, and she comes to visit him in the bed, and she pleads with him. She says, "You're my only son. Please don't get serious with this girl." The interchange, the dialogue is so remarkable. It kept coming back to me over the weekend. So I was thinking, this is from a male perspective of what to look for in a girl, to tell your son not to, have a relationship with a girl like that. But what about the warning signs of men from a woman's perspective? What would you tell a daughter to look for in a boy in college? I'm limited to that age group. What a warning. So what would be the warning sign that you tell your girl to look at to avoid a man who shows these warning signs? So I've given you so much of an opening here. You better think and call me. I'll back in a minute. So I have given you fodder that is conversation worth talking and thinking about. I mean, you're spending your time listening to me. It's valuable time. You could do a lot of things. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. So what am I here for? Just to agitate you? I could agitate you all day long by telling you what the libs are doing to this country. But you know that already. You know what they just did in San Francisco. You know they just took a man who killed a young woman, died in her father's arms, and told him he's free because, well, he's one of the protected classes of people. And you know it was a warped trial. You know that it was a nullified trial, should be thrown out. And you know Feinstein's a fraud from her toenails to her fingernails. Not one word about a woman slaughtered in the streets, shot down like a dog, and a trial like this. Not one word from the face freeze up there in Pacific Heights. So, yeah, I could do that. I'm not going to do it. But, I mean, I moved in the conversation to other topics, Trump's report card, and then I was going to talk about the warning signs in a girl that you tell your son don't marry her, from the Philip Roth novel Indignation, which was written quite a while ago. But I thought, what would that be from a woman's perspective? What would a father tell his daughter to look for in a man? and avoid that guy. Don't have any relationship with him. You know what I'm saying? Andy, on KSFO, we have a few little seconds here. What would you tell your daughter?
I would tell my daughter not to date a guy that wore sandals.
Oh, come on. I took the call because it's hilarious. You mean a sandal is enough to throw it out?
It is. You know, my mom always told me, watch out for girls with fine nails. And I would tell my daughter, watch out for a guy with sandals. You know,
well, why? Why what is a sandal?
It suggests kind of a weak work ethic, in my opinion.
You mean if a guy wears sandals, he's a bum?
No, not a bum, but I don't know. It's, you know, I've always been in hard labor, wearing hard boots. You know, you work hard all day long, you come home to your family.
Well, what if the guy wears sandals and has socks like European style? Would that still be?
To me, that's even worse. I don't get that.
That's definitely communistic. I know that. Yeah, any guy who wears sandals with socks is a commie through and through. Probably a deviant to go with it.
You know, and on vacation one time, my dad wore socks with sandals, but he's the most anti-communist guy I know.
But you have a good point. So really, honestly, you tell your daughter don't marry a guy who wears sandals? Well, when I come back, I'm going to read that scene because what this mother character tells the son character in the Philip Roth novel is so... I couldn't get this dialogue out of my head. Would you like a copy of God, Faith, and Reason?
I would absolutely love one.
Then go buy one in a bookstore. No, I'm going to send you one. It's okay. I'm not in a mean mood. I'll be right back. All right. Welcome back to the political circus, which I'm not going to talk about. I'd rather talk about a wart than talk about politics today. So I'm talking about all these other topics, and I think that they're interesting. And, again, another guy accused now of pulling it out in masturbation. I don't know anyone, I said. I've asked guys, do you know anyone who ever did this? To a man, they've all said they never knew a guy who did a thing like this in front of a woman, even when they were younger. But I did recall a guy, he'll remain unnamed, obviously, I don't want to get sued, who did this once. He exhibited himself, and he turned to a girl at a party. He said, do you know what this is? And she looked at him archly and said, oh, yes, a penis, but smaller. Now, she humiliated him. That was the end of it. She didn't sue him. Now it's $30 million for a flash? Sick, crazy, the lawyers. Shakespeare knew how to treat the lawyers. So that brings us to the mother-son dialogue I was telling you about in the novel Indignation by Philip Roth, written in the 50s, different times. So the son is in love with a girl from college. Actually, it's a sleeper of a movie. It's not a grade A, but it's good. And it just came out this year, and I caught it by accident. I've been thinking about it, so I bought the novel. I'm reading it. I always liked Philip Roth. He's such a genius. So the kid's in a hospital bed in college, in the college hospital. He has appendicitis. He's recovering. The mother comes from the East Coast to visit her son, and she says to him, but now I must ask for something in return because something is unimaginable to me. The mother says to the boy, her son, I never asked anything of you before. I never asked because I never had to, because you were perfect where sons are concerned. All you've ever wanted to be is a boy who does well. You have been the best son a mother could have. But I'm going to ask you to have nothing more to do with Miss Hutton, because for you to be with her is unimaginable for me. Marky, you are here to be a student and to study the Supreme Court and prepare to go to law school. You are here so someday you will become a person in the community that other people look up to and that they come to for help. You are here so you don't have to be a Messner, so you don't have to work in a butcher shop for the rest of your life. You are not here to look for trouble with a girl who has taken a razor and slit her wrists. Son. Wrist. She slit one wrist. Mother. One is enough. We have only two, and one is too much. Son. Ma, you don't understand. Mother. You think I don't understand? Son. You don't. You don't understand. Mother. Marky, I will stay with your father, but for this I'm offering a deal. Marky, the world is full of young women who have not slit any wrists, who have slit nothing. They exist by the millions. Find one of them. She can be a Gentile. She can be anything. This is 1951. You don't live in the old world. Why should you? Date anyone you want. Marry anyone you want. Do whatever you want with whoever you choose, as long as she's never put a razor to herself. A girl so wounded as to do such a thing will wipe out everything before your life has even begun. Son, Mom, you don't understand. It's not as serious a relationship as you think. Mother, serious? She is serious for you because she is suffering. She is weak, and weak people are not harmless. Their weakness is their strength. A person so unstable is a menace to you, Marky. And she is a beautiful young woman. She looks like a goddess. Obviously, she's well brought up, though maybe there is more to her upbringing than meets the eye. You never know about those things, about what goes on in people's houses. When the child goes wrong, look to the family. Regardless, my heart goes out to her. I pray for her. I have nothing against her. But you are my son and my only child, and I am your mother, who must do anything for you. Do you understand? Son, I understand. Mother, that means you will promise no matter the tears, the pleas from her, no matter, you promise. Son, I promise. There are so many subtleties to this scene that I thought I would read it to you. Here is a mother telling a son not to marry a beautiful girl that he meets at college, and she is so sweet about her put down of the girl that it's hard to believe anyone could even write anything like this. She is beautiful. She looks like a goddess. She's well brought up. My heart goes out to her. I pray for her. I have nothing against her. I've never seen writing like this. That's why I've always enjoyed reading Philip Roth. There's no one left in this world who could write any more like this. There's no subtlety. It's the same in politics. Democrat, Republican. Republican bad, Democrat good. Democrat bad, Republican good. Anyone you disagree with is a Nazi or a communist. No subtlety. Same in literature. It's gone. But since I am a carrier of civilization, I'm going to bring you civilization as I know it, whether it's through literature or science, poetry, art, whatever it is that's always interested me in my life. I'm not just going to hide it. I'm going to bring it to you. I even have a pamphlet in my hand that I found, just fell out of a bookcase from 1990, called Herbs and Immunity. 1990. A little pamphlet with color illustrations. No, it's not for sale. But it opens with a literary story. When I even wrote about herbs, I was interested in bigger stories. I open the thing by saying, well, I'm going to get into a whole, save it for tomorrow. I can't do that now. I'm giving you too much at once. I'm just rolling here. I'm just rolling like a six-wheeler down a highway. So what would you like to talk about? What would you tell your daughter to look for in a boy to avoid? Huh? Okay, I got to take her. JRW, Michigan. Anna, what would you tell your daughter to avoid in a man or a boy?
Both of them or either one?
I don't know. Just answer. I don't know. I can't.
Okay. Well, my son, I would say, look for a girl who is kind and treats people nice, treats animals.
No, I didn't ask you what to look for. I said what to look for to avoid in a boy.
Avoid a guy that doesn't have a job, doesn't have his own.
Yeah, but that's a given. That's not okay. Thanks for Jim. Would you do a little better job of screening? The obvious I don't want. If I start getting the obvious, I'm going to go to tape for the rest of the show. I'm in a pissed off mood right now. Okay, I'm so angry I can't even begin to tell you. That's why I'd rather talk about a novel than talk about Donald Trump or about Mueller or about Schmueller. I'm sick of it. I'd rather talk about Crullers than talk about Mueller. Okay, let's start again. Is there anyone with any subtlety or nuance out there, or is everything's like black and white, left and right? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing left and right. Then I'll keep talking. I'm not going to. How about no calls? Is there anyone out there with any subtlety in the caller base? Let's try Jennifer on KLIF in Dallas. That'll be the last call of the day. Jennifer, what would you tell your daughter to avoid in a man?
I would tell my daughter to not ever waste time with a man who had no respect for authority, but more importantly, and here's the subtlety, that a guy would not be a coward to stand up against someone who was an unrighteous boss or some. So stay away.
No, I hear what you're saying. You basically would tell your daughter to avoid a coward, a moral coward.
Yes, and not just a moral coward, but who would allow things to go on in authority that shouldn't be going on, that they would tolerate someone in
All
authority.
right, so you want
In authority.
you're telling your daughter to avoid not only a moral coward in plain English.
Yes, yes.
All right, that's good. I'm not here to grade you. I think that's a good statement, because I don't know how many mothers would say that to a daughter. How do you even define a moral coward? You're defining as someone who does not stand up to authority in the proper manner. I get it. So I'm sending you God, Faith, and Reason as a guidebook for all of us. Okay, but what would you say? Anyone else out there? I just saw one that was good. I don't know. Oh, here's the one. Elwood on WYAB, and this is Mississippi, right? Elwood, line 9. Go ahead, please. What would you tell your daughter to look for in a man to avoid?
I would tell her to avoid dating a musician at all costs. I used to be one. And
Okay.
I know that
I love the call. Most musicians are fun, but they're definitely not marriage material.
hey, it's a double, Doc. The one at the time I was filling in for a bass player, and you watch the audience, and I kept seeing women like drop their drinks with a totally aghast expression on their face, and I could not figure out why. And out the corner of my eye, in the middle of the next song, I saw the guitar player lift up his Stratocaster, and yes, sir, you know what he had hanging out. That was the 80s. It was an Otatom still.
Sorry. I mean, the scene is funny, actually, when you think about it. That's someone's listening to this show as a screenwriter. That's going right into someone's film script, I can guarantee you. No, I never heard that one, but that's definitely going into a film script. Well, since you're such a good sport, we'll send you God, Faith, and Reason. I won't make you buy one for Christmas. No, Charlie, not asking what you would tell a son to look for to avoid. So drop line 8. We are only looking for what a father or a mother would tell a daughter to look for in a man to avoid. You know what I'm saying? That's one topic. Another is you bought God, Faith, and Reason. You moved it up to the bestseller list. You read the book. That means thousands of you have read the book. I'm going through soul searching now, saying, what is in that book that is worthy of a person spending $20 or $16 or $25? What is in it that's worth buying? You know, we're coming to a new point in the commerce of books, the world of books to begin with. Why would anyone buy a book for any reason anymore when you could literally look up anything online for nothing? So you say, well, okay, why do they need to own God, Faith, and Reason? What's in it? Well, that book, of all the books I've written, has lasting value for reasons I want you to tell me. And there's a reason for it. I want this book not to be lost to the media who has ignored this book. I think it's the most important book of the year. I think it's more important than Trump's war in terms of its lasting value, in terms of human value, and in terms of truths that have not changed through the ages. You know, so, yeah, I'm trying to get you to understand that there are values in the world that transcend the now in this show in so many different ways. So we can take that, and then there's the other topics. The killing of Kate Steinle and how the murderer walked because he was an illegal alien and she was a white girl. And you know and I know that that's why the results are what they are. You know and I know. You say, well, why make it about race? Because they made it about race, didn't they? Didn't the defense attorney make it about race? Sure he did. He made it all about race. Look at the jury he selected. Look at how he coached the jury before the verdict. Look how there was no outcry from the judge. Look how there was no outcry from Feinstein or Pelosi or the mayor or the governor. All these good liberals had nothing to say about the killing of a girl in cold blood who dies in her father's arms, and this filthy, dirty bum from Mexico walks out laughing out of the courtroom. Not one word from the monk in Sacramento. Not one word from Freeze Face on Pacific Heights. Not one word from contractor's wife on Pacific Heights. Not one word from any of the lousy louts who call themselves journalists in San Francisco. No, not one word. And we're not talking about that, are we? No, we're not talking about that, are we? No, we're going to take a break? No, we're not. No, we're not going to take a break. Not right now. We're going to ask you to call 855-407-2882 on any of the topics I have raised. Back in a minute. Did you know that Uber disclosed the breach of 57 million passengers and drivers' records? Did you know that hackers access personal information like names and driver's license numbers of the drivers and names, email addresses, phone numbers of passengers? And though this breach was just recently announced, this personal information was stolen over a year ago. Look, if you're only monitoring your credit, your identity can still be stolen in ways you may not detect. And that's why there's a good thing there's LifeLock. LifeLock detects a wide range of identity threats you may miss by just monitoring your credit, like someone stealing from your 401k or committing a crime in your name. And if there's a problem, a U.S.-based identity restoration specialist will work to fix it. We know that no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, right? But LifeLock can help you see more threats to your identity. Please go to LifeLock.com or call 1-800-LifeLock, promo code SAVAGE, 1-800-LifeLock, code SAVAGE. You're going to get a big 10% off. You heard me. Visit LifeLock.com, code SAVAGE, and save a big 10% now. Many topics touched on in the first hour. You want me to start talking about politics? You'll hear me explode. You think I am happy about the greedy gangsters who have just took land that were in national monuments and gave it to the loggers, the miners, and the hunters? I'm not happy about it. What will I do, wake up tomorrow and hear that Donald Trump has decided that the land that Teddy Roosevelt put aside for national parks should be given over to miners, loggers, and joggers? I wouldn't be happy about that. Any more than I was happy about people bringing in elephant heads or elephant tusks or lion paws or gorilla paws. No, my friends, there comes a time that you have to start thinking on your own and not just be a knee-jerk conservative or a knee-jerk Republican. No, this is not a good thing. It's a terrible thing. And it's a terrible precedent. And the same guy, Zinke, who approved bringing in elephant trophies and then lion trophies, is seen there smiling with all the other gangsters, chanting 4 more years after he signed the National Monument Proclamation. It's unbelievable to me. I warned you both in Trump's war, and I do in God's faith, God, faith, and reason, that we must not roll back every environmental protection that was put in place by Clinton and Obama. It would be a disastrous mistake to do so. And if that's going to be the legacy of Trump, then I'm gone. I'm out of there. Sorry, end of story. Don't sit there like a knee-jerk fool and say, well, because Obama did it, it's no good. Therefore, he's undoing it. This is the greatest rollback of a land use situation in something like 70 years. If the free market means unearthing Native American tombs, if the free market means blowing up sacred lands, if the free market means raping the land, then, my friends, there's something wrong with the free market. And let me remind you of something else. There's no such thing as a free lunch, nor of the free market. It's another tragic Monday, not another manic Monday. It's another tragic Monday. You got a tax bill? Oh, yeah, did you look at it carefully? You know who benefited? Mega corporations. Not medium-sized corporations. Not the local business. Not the mom and pop store filing under S-corps. You're not going to save a dime. Not the doctor, not the lawyer, not the architect. You're getting screwed so the giant corporations can laugh all the way to the Swiss bank. That was a shuck and a jive. Here's another one. Bears Ears National Monument. Now saying, well, that's good because it's going to be, take it away from the bureaucrats in Washington. Yeah, let's take it back because Obama produced that. Everything Obama did was communist. Everything. He seized land. Well, what would you say about those people who would say that shrinking the Utah national monuments by nearly 2/3 will decimate the land, opening it up to mining, timber, you name it? What do you think about that? Huh? What do you think about that? So he's shrinking 2 national monuments. Doesn't give a damn about tombs, Indians, nothing like that. So who's going to benefit from this? Who is going to benefit from cutting the amount of land protected by the federal government? You think you're going to benefit from it? Are you that stupid? Are you that naive to believe it's good for you? How's it good for you? You'll be able to go on your stupid four-wheeler out there like an idiot and crush every living thing, shoot everything that moves, crap in a stream? That's the Republican. That's the image of the Republican, the ugly Republican. Being able to crap in a stream and cut a tree down, kill everything that moves. What Trump just recommended would be the most significant reductions by any president to monument designations made under the 1906 Antiquities Act. And Zinke, the guy who wanted to bring in elephants and rhino horns, Zinke is the man behind this? Boy. Trump called some monument designations by Obama and Clinton a massive federal land grab that should never have happened. You believe that? Who's going to protect the land other than a president? It wouldn't be lumber interests. It wouldn't be mining interests. It wouldn't be hunting interests. So we're going to see the land now destroyed. The same corporations who had just been given the greatest tax boondoggle in history are going to be able to bulldoze, clear cut, mine, frack, until there's nothing but a parking lot left in Utah. So don't tell me it's all good for you, you idiots, who've been sold a bill of garbage. You know, this is the problem. I've been trying to warn you this for years. I've been trying to warn you about the danger of being a knee-jerk conservative. We all knew about knee-jerk liberals. We know the damage they do. And I try to warn you about don't become a knee-jerk conservative. I wrote about it in many of my books, most recently in my current book, God, Faith, and Reason. There's a whole section in God, Faith, and Reason about what the word dominion means, where God says you shall have dominion over all the animals, all the plants, all the land. Many of you think that means you can rape it and clear-cut it. Many of you think that means you can go in there and turn everything into a parking lot, rip out Native American tombs, cut down every forest. In fact, it doesn't mean that. Dominion means a stewardship of the land, not a robber baronship of the land. You understand that? And I'll tell you something else that you don't know. Mark my words, but when you see Chinese companies coming in and getting the timber out of Utah, don't say I didn't warn you. When you see these greedy pigs called fake Republican conservatives in Utah selling the rights off for mining to some Chinese company, don't tell me I didn't warn you. Because that's what's going to happen. You'll say, oh, well, it's free market. They offered the best price. There's a limit to free market thinking. You've just seen it with Trump and the Utah land grab. Period. End of story. It's heartbreaking. And that's why I spent the first hour talking about relationships rather than this, because this relationship right now is horrible. So I read you a scene of a mother-son scene from Indignation by Philip Roth. And then I asked you if you were a father, what would you warn your daughter to? What are the key signs to look out for in a man? To not go near a guy who what? Someone says he wears sandals, Maybe you'd say if he has a beard. His nose is twisted. He's got astigmatism. I don't know what. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what would you say to your daughter? Don't hang out with a guy who does X. The obvious I don't need, like he smokes pot. Avoid him like the plague. He's a drug addict. And he'll go on to harder drugs. No matter what he says, no matter what the government says, no matter what the media says, he will go on to harder drugs. He'll have a really hard life as a pothead. But what are the other warning signs of a bad guy? Now, I'm going to play for you from YouTube a piece from the Indignation film clip because I read it, but I didn't play it. And I'm doing this to avoid the Steinle verdict because to me it was a lynch mob that released this Mexican murderer. It was a lynch mob that did this. And I'll make the analogy I made on Friday. 1950s southern states. Ku Klux Klan hangs a black man. Happened a lot of times. So they find the guy who actually hung the man, and they bring him in for trial, and the defense attorney shops the jury until the jury is largely those who are sympathetic to hanging blacks, or they're a member of the Ku Klux Klan, and the Ku Klux Klan member is found not guilty, not even of manslaughter, and walks out of the court laughing. That's what just happened in San Francisco Friday. So that makes Jerry Brown who? That makes Dianne Feinstein and the other one up there, Freeze Face. What does it make them? What does it make them? Just what they were then. Makes them the same thing, only, they're not that? Like hell they're not that. They are that. So I don't even want to talk about it. It's too heartbreaking to believe this country has descended to this level of barbarism. Barbarism! That Feinstein and Pelosi dressed up and gussied up like good women. They're the barbaric ones of our time. They're barbarians for letting this happen. Giving the sanctuary city law. My God, look what it's done to this country. So we can talk about that. We can talk about Trump paving over the wilderness land, maybe put in a casino. Maybe they can pave over the entire West. Maybe they can pave over everything west of the Rocky Mountains and call it the free market. And you could salute that. Well, it's a free market, Mike. What's wrong with that? We don't need no national parks, Mike. We don't need them bureaucrats running them. No. What we need is pavement. Pavement out there in the West. Those horrible mountains up there. We wouldn't even walk there. We need sidewalks. Sidewalks out there in the Moon House ruin. We need a sidewalk over there in Monte La Salle National Forest. We need Glen Canyon National Recreation Area paved over. Every bear killed. Put out 1 million bear traps and kill every bear in those recreation areas. Kill every deer. Make it safe for someone in high heels from Park Avenue to go by in a golf cart. Or fly over and look down at the little people having fun down there after they sold off the mining rights to someone in China or God knows in the Middle East who'll get it next. But most of you don't agree with me. You say this was a good thing to reduce the scale of the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. That's good. That's free market. That's what you're going to say because you're a knee-jerk conservative. There's no subtlety left. There's no subtlety left on the left or the right. And that's why I've told you for years. I'll tell you again. I'm an independent politically. I have been from the beginning. I have never registered Republican. And ever since I ceased being a little boy, I haven't been a registered Democrat. I grew up a long time ago. But I'm telling you, this is so bad. I'm telling you, this is so bad, what was just done. To do this to the land like this. Yeah, the land is a living thing. I know that sounds odd to you hardcore conservative animal killers. You're tough guys out there and kill everything. The house on fire ruins in Mule Canyon in the Bears Ears National Monument means nothing to you. Blow up the rock and see what minerals are in it, right? It's nothing to you. It may have been sacred to the Indians. And what about those thousands of Native American artifacts in southeastern Utah, including ancient cliff dwellings and petroglyphs? Why don't you ruin it? They're of no use to anybody. Can't sell them, can't eat them, can't fornicate with them, can't grab them, can't market them in any way, so blow them up, fill them in, pave them over. That's the Republican way. They keep this up. I'll make a prediction. If they keep this up being the stereotype of the ugly Republican, this country will be communist within 10 years if this keeps up. No, mark my words. I'm telling you what's going to happen in this country. If they keep up being the stereotype ugly Republican, this country will go so far to the left, you won't know what hit you. I've never seen anything like this. Did I run through this whole opening already? I did. Then I asked you, why should anyone buy God, Faith, and Reason? I'm using the dollar amount. Because I ask myself when I write a book, why would anyone buy this? Why should they buy this? What's in this that they really need? Can they really get it anywhere else? If they could, I wouldn't have written the book. I wrote the book. Every word of it is from me, from my life. Whether it was a story about when I was 5 years old or what I am now. Whether it was when I was struggling or when I'm struggling with my success. It's all in there. Because life is a struggle. It is a continuous struggle. Nobody lands on easy street, in case you don't know it. No matter what the news may have you believe. All the fools running around throwing parties for each other. You think they're on easy street? Is that why they all wind up in rehab? No, no one's on easy street. Everyone's struggling with these eternal questions, and that's what's in God, faith, and reason. And that is why my odyssey is worthy of your investigation. And there I've answered the question myself. So those are the topics rattling around. I'll play the film clip from Indignation. Indignation, not indignation. Actually, from the savage nation to indignation in one administration. Hey, that's a good one. From the savage nation to the indignant nation in one administration. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll write that down. Back in a minute. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Goes the Hanukkah party, the Christmas party, the Easter party, the Mother's Day party. In San Francisco, a sea lion's life is worth more than a white woman's life. Then I wrote Savage Newsletter free. Sign up on michaelsavage.com. Now, but here's the best one of the day, since I continuously try to create reality on my own show. I think out loud. Here it is, the best one of the week, maybe of the year. From the savage nation to the indignant nation in one administration. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Let's see where that one goes. Let's see, the Hanukkah party, Christmas party, New Year's party, at the Winter Palace gone. Let's see, Easter party, Passover party gone, Mother's Day gone. Having my petition put up January to remove my name from the UK ban list. He's not going to help me on that one. But, hey, I'm the kind of guy who says it like it is. And you got to respect me for that. I would think even the president should respect someone who says it like it is, rather than being a yes man. And so I'm not a yes man, that's all. He needs someone like me. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. It's too bad. That's why he's in so much trouble. He's listening to a moron who only knows how to tweet and take all the money of the bank and run with it. That's all. How could that be called conservatism, to just steal as much money as you can, to block everybody who is in the same business as you? Is that conservative? That's conservative values? To step on everybody around you and call yourself a conservative? That's the free market? Or to hide your wealth while raking it in and making believe you're a little guy? That's the conservative way? Or to rape the land? That's the conservative way? Or to kill animals? That's the conservative way? Well, then count me out. Count me out if that's the definition of conservative. Because not in my book it isn't. The word conservative to me means to conserve, which is very close to preserve. And I'm not talking about jam. I have to read the Dominion thing again for you. I have to find it in God, Faith, and Reason. If I have to do it, I'll do it. Because many of you are so mistaken to think that dominion over animals means killing them, eating them, crushing them, torturing them, to make it ugly, so you'll understand. What does dominion mean? I'm interpreting the Bible of what it means. Dominion, page 71, God, Faith, and Reason. And that's something you should never forget. According to Genesis, God told Adam and Eve the following: be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that creepeth upon the earth. And then I wrote, there are some things in the Bible I don't happen to agree with. Does it make me an anti-God, anti-religious person? No, I would say that people must evolve past the original message. I mean, we don't kill adulterers anymore, do we? Do we kill homosexuals? Not unless you're a retrograde throwback Islamist. There are many things in the Bible that must be taken in the context of the times, and one of them is the passage I quoted above. What does have dominion really mean? Does it mean you should slaughter animals mercilessly and eat them? I don't think so. In fact, I interpret having dominion to mean protecting them. Well, my friends, the same thing goes to the earth. We have dominion over many things that we don't necessarily consume to the point of destroying them. What do you think crop rotation is for? You understand what I'm saying? Well, you'll have to read it yourself to understand that dominion means to protect, not to kill, and to turn a Western national monument into a parking lot. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I mean, we need to consume living things to survive. I get that. We can't live on air. But if we become as psychotic in our greed, as psychotic as the liberals became with their social greed, there is nothing left on the earth, period. All right, welcome back to the Savage Bar and Bistro, where any topic is fair game. I've given you a whole bunch of them. If you don't mind, I'm having a snack right now. I know it's impolite to eat on the air, but you know what? I don't think Matt Lauer ever ate on the air. Look where he is now. I don't think Charlie Rose ever ate on the air. Look where he is now. So if you don't mind, I'll do what I've been doing for 20-some-odd years. I'll eat on the air. It's my normal lunch hour. I try not to change things too much just because I'm on the radio. I still have to live, don't I? I've been up since 5 in the morning. I'm hungry. This is my lunchtime, so I'm having sushi. I'm eating the pinworm sushi right now because I'm eating too much meat, so I'm balancing it with fish. It's that simple. But, you know, the topics are really wearing on me. When I see what could happen to a girl like Kate Steinle and how the witches of San Francisco who pretend to be oh so liberal have not even said a word of this miscarriage of justice. Not one word from the monk in Sacramento, the man who pretends to care so much about the earth and women and the environment. Not one word about the death of a young girl in her father's arms from the monk in Sacramento. You know, it starts to get to you after a while. So I started talking about other topics, like what does my book, God, Faith, and Reason, do for you? Why should anyone buy it? Like who should you not date? Because I was reading from the book Indignation by Philip Roth, where the mother goes to the son in the hospital. He's recovering from appendicitis. It's really an interesting movie. I really enjoyed it. I didn't even know, you know, it's like one of those movies you were scanning and I caught it. And I said, this is not bad. It was like a B plus movie. So I said, whoa, it's based on Philip Roth's work. And I got the book, read the book, and some of the dialogue is overwhelming. So it's in 1951. The protagonist, Marcus, is a working-class Jewish boy. His father owns a butcher shop in New Jersey. And he goes to a small Ohio college where he struggles with the sexual things, cultural disaffection, and the fear of going to be drafted into the Korean War. And here is clip number 1 between the mother in the hospital and the boy, Marcus, as he is recovering from appendicitis and a bad love affair. Listen.
I never asked anything of you before. I never asked because I never had to, because you are perfect where sons are concerned. All you've ever wanted to be is a boy who does well. You have been the best son a mother could have. But I am going to ask you to have nothing more to do with Miss Hutton. Because for you to be with her is unimaginable for me. Marky, you are here to be a student and to study the Supreme Court and to prepare to go to law school. You are here so someday you will become a person in the community that other people look up to and that they come to for help. You are here so you don't have to be a Messner and work in a butcher shop for the rest of your life. You are not here to look for trouble with a girl who has taken a razor and slit her wrists.
She slit one wrist.
One is enough. We have only 2, and 1 is too much.
You don't understand.
You think I don't understand?
You don't understand.
Marky, I will stay with your father, but for this I am offering a deal. Marky, the world is full of young women who have not slit any wrists, who have slit nothing. They exist by the millions. Find one of them. She can be a Gentile. She can be anything. This is 1951. You don't live in the old world. Why should you? Date anyone you want. Marry anyone you want. Do whatever you want with whoever you choose, as long as she's never put a razor to herself. A girl so wounded as to do such a thing will wipe out everything before your life has even begun.
You don't understand. It's not as serious a relationship as you think.
Serious? She is serious for you because she is suffering. She is weak. And weak people, Marky, weak people are not harmless. Their weakness is their strength. A person so unstable is a menace to you, Marky. And she is a beautiful young woman. She looks like a goddess. Obviously, she's well brought up. Though maybe there is more to her upbringing than meets the eye. You never know about those things, about what goes on in people's houses. When the child goes wrong, look to the family. Regardless, my heart goes out to her. I pray for her. I have nothing against her. But you are my son. And my only child. And I am your mother, who must, do anything for you. Do you understand?
I understand.
And that means you will promise, no matter the tears, the pleas from her, no matter. You promise.
I promise.
No one's writing like this anymore. Philip Roth, Indignation, great novel. Movie's worth watching. But it provoked a lot of thought in me about what would a father say to a daughter about a man she was dating, or a boy, to look for and to avoid. Because again, written from a man's perspective, that's one way to look at it. But what about written from a woman's perspective? See, I mean, I can flex. So I thought I'd play it for you because I think it's an interesting thing. Let's take some calls on this. Daniel on KSFO on a comedic note. What would you advise your daughter to avoid in a man?
Dr. Savage, I would tell my daughter to avoid a young man who prefers a light beer to a dark beer.
I'm glad we had some light motif here. You're not Are you really serious? Are you serious about that?
Not 100%, Dr. Savage, but I have noticed kind of in my time as a young man that the type of person who prefers a light one tends to be the type of person who will overdrink, will binge drink, can't handle it very well. Because instead of enjoying one or two over the course of an evening, they go out and buy a 30 rack and just end up passing out. So
it's a funny observation. That's why I took it, because I think it's so. Like, it's the guy who called and said, I would tell my daughter not to date anyone who wears sandals. It's on that order. Daniel, you're a good sport. You're a good sport. I'm sending you God, faith, and reason. I guess another reason I played the scene and read the scene is because of the magnificence of the writing. It was like reading a symphony. No one writes as well as this, obviously. Philip Roth is one of the greats. And I'm not looking to get him on the show. I'm not looking to go visit him. That's not why I'm reading this. It's because it's got a universal appeal. It could be a mother of any race talking to a boy of any race. Any mother, it doesn't matter what the race is. And so you can exclude that. Well, see, that's the whole point. It's about the love of a mother for a son and her protectiveness of the son. Do mothers still do this? Not anymore, I don't think. It's like, oh, fine, son. Whatever you want to do. Oh, you want to drop out of law school and smoke pot and just run around? That's fine. Whatever feels good, son. If it feels good, do it. And don't worry about the community. Don't worry about your family. Don't worry about your future. Just whatever feels good, do it. You can always work in your father's butcher shop for the rest of your life, son. I mean, do you understand the difference in the times and the mores of the times? Well, I guess you do. That's why I'm reading it to you. Some of you do. Some of you don't care. You'd rather talk about Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat, Democrat, Republican. I'd rather slash both wrists than revert to that. I'm not doing it. I'm on strike. I've always been on strike. I can't do it. Never mind one wrist. If you told me that for the rest of my career and the rest of my natural life, I'd have to talk about a president or an anti-president or an obstruction of justice or Flynn or Schmin, I swear to God I would quit radio tomorrow if that's all I would. But if the beauty of this business that I am in, and it's something, I don't know, maybe it's not said often enough by myself or anyone else. I can't speak for anyone else. I have no restrictions on what I can talk about. There is absolutely none. You know, one thing you could say about corporations is they really have a hands-off policy with regard to talk shows. At least mine does. I've never once heard them say, Savage, you went over the line, or Savage, please avoid this topic. Never. And that's what distinguishes talk radio from all the other, let us say, electronic media that requires some kind of communication. You know Charlie Rose had producers. You know that, and censors. He probably didn't need them. He had a built-in censorship. You know, anything conservative was evil. You know that Matt Lauer, what he was and what he had to go through with the focus groups for NBC, they would not touch certain topics. You know what Fox News is all about. They'd rather have a rapist and a murderer and a killer on than Michael Savage. That's what they become. So I have total freedom. Now, with that total freedom comes a awesome responsibility, because you can go into areas you shouldn't go into. Maybe I have sometimes. Maybe I did today. You could say things you regret, and I've done that a few times in my career, not today at all. Nothing I said today do I regret. Not one thing. In fact, I've coined a new phrase, which I put on Twitter and Facebook. from the savage nation to the indignant nation in one administration. And that's it. You could set that in stone. I'm not going back on it. Period. End of story. I am so indignant today from what I am seeing going on. The arrogance, the blindness, the blind arrogance and greed of this pack of Republicans is sickening. The last straw for me was not so much the national land grab. It was the phony tax bill. I waited almost a year for this because I feared if she won, she'd raise my taxes to that of, I don't know, 80, 90%. I'm already paying 39 plus 15, 14 because of the criminals in Sacramento and Washington. So Trump came along. Oh, he's going to lower my taxes to 20, 25%. I waited for that day because I knew how I was going to spend the money. I was going to expand my business. I was going to create a bigger media business. And now I find out not only am I not getting a tax deduction of any kind, I'm getting screwed. I'm going to pay more because he's eliminating the state tax deduction in California. And number two, the only big winners are the big corporations. So what do you want me to do? Sit here and cheer? I'm not a big corporation. You want me to be a knee-jerk Republican? I'm not a knee-jerk Republican. You want me to sit here and be a trumpeter of trumpet? I'm not a trumpeter for Trump. I am an independent conservative, period. That's who I've always been. And now you know why I'm a man alone. And now you know why I am a man alone, because I prefer to be alone. That's all. Okay, I guess I should take a break. You got so much to talk about. Back to talk with you right here on the Savage Nation. You know, the word superfoods is on everyone's lips right now. Everyone's talking about superfoods. Superfoods. What are they? Superfoods are those nutritionally dense foods that are especially beneficial to your health. Did you know that beets are one of the most powerful superfoods you can put into your body? They're loaded with an important nutrient that increases your blood flow, which increases your energy. Yeah, but who wants to eat a pile of beets every day? Not me. But now you can get the energy benefits of beets in a powerful, concentrated superfood drink, Super Beets. You see, only Super Beets is made from beets grown to very exact standards, and then they're concentrated into superfood crystals. Super Beets promotes the body's own natural ability to produce healthier circulation for increased energy and stamina all day long. So if you want the benefits of a powerful superfood, call 800-481-0504 or visit savagelovesbeets.com. And with your first order, you're going to get another 30-day supply of Super Beets free, plus free indicator strips to see how the Super Beets are actually working inside your body, and also free shipping. Call 800-481-0504, 800-481-0504, or go to savagelovesbeets.com. WABC Troy, if you were advising your daughter on what to avoid in a man, what would you tell her?
Well, I would tell her to be very, very, very careful with men who are overly obsessed with their own vanity. Because I believe if a man is too concerned with his looks and his appearance, it's because he has his mind on the next woman he's going to see.
You know what? There's also another element to narcissism like that, which is he's going to be in competition with the woman for who's more beautiful. They're going to have a competition. He's supposed to look at her as a love object in that regard more than she's supposed to look at him.
Yes.
Now, Troy, did you raise children?
I raised one young man, and I'm proud of. He's a 20-year-old Marine, and I'm in the process of raising my 2 daughters and my stepdaughter. So, it's enough.
Wow, you've done a real man's job. Troy, don't you agree that being a father is the toughest job on earth?
That's not even a debate. The only person who would debate that is somebody who has never been a father.
That's right. People who don't even know what it means. It's a tough road to hoe, but what else is there out in life? Living for the next orgasm? I don't think so.
No, it's also the most fulfilling.
You're a nice guy, Troy. I'm going to send you 3 copies of God, Faith, and Reason. 1 for you and 2 for your children. The third one's going to have to fight over it. I'm joking. No, we'll send you the book. Thank you so much for calling. We're almost out of time. I don't believe this. Here's another one. Mary on WABC. What would you suggest? Go ahead, make your comment.
Hi. Dr. Savage, I would tell my daughter not to marry a man who wears a man bun, and I would tell my son not to marry a girl who wears a nose ring.
But why a man bun? What does a man bun say to you?
It says to me a man who's going to have a hard time holding down a real job.
I had a ponytail for a while. I got rid of it about 2 months ago.
Ponytails are different. They can be macho.
In fact, I can tell you a ponytail story. When I went to Mar-a-Lago, I think it was last March, and I met the president, I was very, leery about even saying hello to him with the ponytail. I contemplated cutting it. Then I said, you know what? This is me right now. I have it. I've been growing it for 2 years. For whatever the reason was, he'll have to live with it. He didn't say a word. It was not like he banned me from seeing him. Maybe that's why. Wait a minute. That's why maybe he doesn't call her right. It could be that reason. It could have been the ponytail.
Maybe.
I'm joking. Who cares? Look, Mary, that's funny. I'm sending you God, faith, and reason. So look, guys, and dolls, guys and dolls. Indignation by Philip Roth, Mother and Son scene. I had a lot of fun playing that for you and reading it for you. It led to a lot of discussion. I have talked with some degree of contempt of the president's move to grab land in the West and pave it over and rape the land. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. You can spell it any way you want. But please don't believe that turning the land over to state bureaucrats is going to be better for the land than having federal bureaucrats run it. Tell me what the difference is between a state bureaucrat and a federal bureaucrat. Can you tell me the difference? So don't buy the lie that the states are now going to do something better with the land. They're going to pave it over. They're going to rape it. Period.
Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
So I have given you fodder that is conversation worth talking and thinking about. I mean, you're spending your time listening to me. It's valuable time. You could do a lot of things. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. So what am I here for? Just to agitate you? I could agitate you all day long by telling you what the libs are doing to this country. But you know that already. You know what they just did in San Francisco. You know they just took a man who killed a young woman, died in her father's arms, and told him he's free because, well, he's one of the protected classes of people. And you know it was a warped trial. You know that it was a nullified trial, should be thrown out. And you know Feinstein's a fraud from her toenails to her fingernails. Not one word about a woman slaughtered in the streets, shot down like a dog, and a trial like this. Not one word from the face freeze up there in Pacific Heights. So, yeah, I could do that. I'm not going to do it. But, I mean, I moved in the conversation to other topics, Trump's report card, and then I was going to talk about the warning signs in a girl that you tell your son don't marry her, from the Philip Roth novel Indignation, which was written quite a while ago. But I thought, what would that be from a woman's perspective? What would a father tell his daughter to look for in a man and avoid that guy? Don't have any relationship with him. You know what I'm saying? So I was going to do that, and then I was going to do Trump People's Report Card on Donald Trump, and go down the list. I may do that anyway. Drain the swamp, he said. F. Not only did swamp dwellers, do they still run the place, he hasn't got rid of Obama holdovers. So he got an F on drain the swamp. He said he'd build a wall. Look at Trump's war. Build a wall. He hasn't even gotten a brick yet. They haven't decided what kind of wall it will be. F. Deportations, he's got a B. His campaign rhetoric has stopped a lot of illegals from coming in and made some leave. ICE seems to be doing its job, but sanctuary cities still exist, so he gets a B on deportations. Taxes, his big victory. Not for me, it isn't. I'm going to pay more. A doctor will pay more. An accountant will pay more. A small business owner will pay more. We got screwed. The only people who won were the giant mega corporations. Do you know that? You understand this is one of the greatest jive artists in this situation. In my life, I never saw anything like it. No, we did not get a tax relief on it. We're paying more. Infrastructure. He talked a lot about infrastructure. He's built nothing, not a road, not a bridge, not a tunnel. Remember, he was on this show, tariffs. He talked a good game about a level playing field against China and the other countries. Not one tariff. So what has he done that's right? Well, Obamacare. So far, the good thing on that, the individual mandate is out. That will effectively kill Obamacare. So that's a B. Guns, he gets an A+. He hasn't taken our guns away. Military spending, A++. The military-industrial complex, 1. Abortion, he gets an F. Still funding Planned Parenthood. Foreign policy, I don't know how to rate him on this. Jared Kushner as ambassador-in-chief? I didn't even know this schmuck before the election. Who is he? What is he talking about a Middle East peace? What does that Pishika know about Middle East peace? Nothing. Nothing. A New York metropolitan left-wing fanatic is going to tell us that he's going to solve the Middle East crisis by giving the Palestinians a nation so they can kill Jews? I give him an F on that. Foreign policy, oh, God. Opioid crisis, wait a minute. It's over. Kellyanne Conway is going to save us. She has no background in science or medicine, but she's the new opioid czar. Terror, war on terror, we give him an A on that. ISIS is all but destroyed because Russia and the U.S. got together to kill them. And the generals are leading the battlefield decisions. So he gets an A on the war on terror. I have another question for you. What is the compelling reason to buy a copy of God, Faith, and Reason? If you bought the book, and many of you did, okay? If you bought the book, if you own the book, if you read the book, I've been really soul-searching about books and writing and publications lately. And I said to myself, of all the books I ever wrote, they're all worth buying or I wouldn't have written them. I mean, I can tell you every last one of them had information in them that I thought was critical to the reader. Trump's war was so necessary as a roadmap to what he was supposed to do for us. You know, it's not even a year yet. Maybe he'll get some of it done. I don't know right now. It doesn't look too hot. So Trump's war, yes. God, Faith, and Reason, there's an absolute reason to own that book. But what is it? I'll let you tell me. 855-407-28. But I still haven't gotten to what I'm going to do yet. And I'm going to give you a hint at it. I'm going to give it all to you in the beginning because your attention span is so small. It is so narrow that unless I capture every part of your brain, you'll be sure to leave me and go listen to, well, who's left in the media? Let's see. Who got burned last week? There's no one on NPR anymore. He's gone. And then music conductor got burned. Geez, you see all those guys getting thrown out now? God, one after the other. I can hardly keep up with them. Matt Lauer, don't know who he is anymore. Who was the other one? Oh, Met Opera suspends James Levine. I call him Levine. It's an interesting thing about Eastern European Jewish names. When you're a nobody, you say Levine. And then when you become a big shot, it becomes Levine. They change the pronunciation. Met Opera suspends James Levine after new sexual abuse accusations going back to 1968. How is this even possible? How is this happening? So I started to put together a constellation of all the people who've been thrown out from Harvey Weinstein on, and I actually figured out that Harvey could make a great movie now. If he did a movie just about molesters, he could have the music score written by James Levine. He could be interviewed by the guy from NPR, whose name I forget. What was his name? He could go on the new Today Show, which is called the Yesterday Show, by Matt Lauer. He could make a new set called Yesterday by Matt Lauer. He could have a pseudo-intellectual like if Chatty Rose could interview him on a fake set. Unbelievable. I mean, it'd be a good movie. And the script could be written by who? Well, I don't know. We don't know who's going to get it next. I'm going to read you a scene from the novel called Indignation by Philip Roth. I mentioned this book once before, but this scene between the mother and the son, when the son is in the hospital and he's in love with a girl in college who the mother doesn't like, and she comes to visit him in the bed, and she pleads with him. She says, "You're my only son. Please don't get serious with this girl." The interchange, the dialogue is so remarkable. It kept coming back to me over the weekend. So I was thinking, this is from a male perspective of what to look for in a girl to tell your son not to, have a relationship with a girl like that. But what about the warning signs of men from a woman's perspective? What would you tell a daughter to look for in a boy in college, I'm limited to that age group, of what a warning, so what would be the warning sign that you tell your girl to look at to avoid a man who shows these warning signs? Well, the circus continues, doesn't it? The circus thinking that there's actual justice in America. Are you joking? Isn't it ironic that the women are so up in arms over all this business of sexual harassment, as they should be? But here's a woman who was actually killed by an illegal alien, and there's no such outrage. Pelosi, 0. Feinstein, 0. And what about the great golden girl, Kamala Harris? I'm telling you right now, if she doesn't say anything about this miscarriage of justice, she's not going to be president. She will become toast for having remained silent in face of this tragedy. Why is there such a silence from Nancy Pelosi, who never shuts her big mouth? She has something to say about everything. She washes the feet of illegal aliens. She puts down Trump. She puts down Republicans. She puts everybody down, but she won't put down a Mexican murderer. Why not? So the judge is a liberal stooge named Feng, F-E-N-G, a part of the Democrat stooge machine. And how did the people, the liberal people of the area, react to the killing of Kate Steinle and the freeing of the illegal alien from Mexico who shot her in cold blood? How? Tolerant. That's the standard of how things should be, said Gary Kleeman, age 64, Marin County, passing by after getting off a ferry, says the local paper. Kleiman says we should show empathy for others in different conditions. If a jury finds him innocent of murder, who's anybody to say, Kleiman, you're a moron. Kleiman, you're the reason America's melting down because of your stupidity. Who's anybody to say, you moron, you? You moron, you? You idiot, you. Tom Chu, age 44, said he understood the jury's verdict. Tom Chu said it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback without being in the jury room. When I look at the news, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, not knowing what's going on. It's such a tragic story, and then the president had to tweet. So you're blaming Trump for it, you idiot, you? You brainless fool, you? Is there nobody in San Francisco who has a mind left? Are all of you so brainwashed that you don't understand what just happened in your city right under your nose? That they shopped it to a jury of illegal aliens, and they winked at them and nodded and said, go ahead and free him. Send the message to Donald Trump. Build a wall, deport them all. That's what I say. My position on immigration has hardened as a result of this. Not softened, it's hardened. Build a wall, deport them all. Throw them out of my country. Build the wall, deport them all. Build the wall, deport them all. Build the wall, deport them all. It has nice iambic pentameter, doesn't it? Well, remember it, because you heard it here first, and I'm not going to let it go. This has hardened my position on immigration. I had become more and more and more of the opinion that, well, you know what, most of them come here to work, and we just got to tighten up the welfare laws, and we'll be fine. I disagree with that completely now. I don't know how many of them who are here illegally are gang members. I don't know how many of them are criminals. I don't know how many of them are robbing the system blind. I do know all of them are here illegally, therefore they are committing a crime. And I know that they are sheltered by Willie Brown. They're sheltered by Governor Brown. They're sheltered by the mayor of the city and every other rotten city in this state for one reason only, because their votes are the reason they stay in power. And never forget the billions and billions of dollars that flow up and down the line off the illegal immigration game. This will never be forgotten. Build a wall, deport them all. Build a wall, deport them all. And where's the outrage at the federal level? Ted Cruz calls on Senate to pass Kate's law after acquittal. Good for him. Trump, disgraceful verdict reached in Steinle death. Good for him. But other than him, I don't see anything else. DOJ files arrest warrant for illegal immigrant acquitted in Kate Steinle case. Kamala Harris, the inevitable. Female Obama knew Kennedy wrong. If she does not step out to say something about this miscarriage of justice against this innocent woman, Kamala Harris will go nowhere. Her campaign will be stalled. People will never forget her silence on this issue. They'll know she's just a Nancy Pelosi without Botox. She's just a Nancy Pelosi without a face freeze. That's all it is. How do you feel about this? You want me to? I'll stop. You want me to do something else? I can give you a health tip of the day. I just switch to health or do some clown act for you on the show. How about a health tip of the day? Mustard is good for you. I actually was going to do a health tip every day on the show, but I got so angry. I thought I could only do this wall to wall, what was done here to the people of this city by this rotten, stinking, corrupt city of mine. I'd rather talk about the health effects of mustard. They seem to inhibit the growth of cancer cells, most notably in the gastrointestinal tract and colon. Mustard seeds are an excellent source of selenium, a trace element that is also thought to have an anti-cancer effect. So if your soil is low in selenium, eating mustard and mustard seeds can help boost your selenium level. And there's your health tip of the day.
I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. You know, in San Francisco, an animal's life is worth more than a woman's, especially if she's a white woman killed by a minority. You don't like it? Well, the Kate Steinle case was very unsettling to me, and a lot of people, everyone saw that it was definitely a miscarriage of justice. In fact, I sent a note to my attorney, Dan Horowitz, and I said, wait a minute. It seems to me that this is a guaranteed jury nullification case. The defense told the jury that it's a nationally important case, and then said, would you oppose a guilty, non-guilty verdict if Donald Trump didn't like it or something like that? The case can be thrown out immediately. I have never seen anything like this. The prosecution should have objected when this so-called defense attorney said that, but the prosecution did not. The judge should have jumped up and shut him down. The judge did not do that. The case was a lock from the beginning. Most of you don't care. I know that. Honestly, I do know that. Trust me, my stethoscope is about as accurate as it gets in radio and the media. I know most of you don't care about Kate Steinle. It bothered me for 3 days straight. She's not a member of my family, thank God. But enough is enough. Everyone I talk to out here who has a conscience knows that this girl died in vain. And they know that Jose Inez Garcia-Zarzalate is a cold-blooded murderer. And do you know if he shot a sea lion, the punishment would have been a $100,000 fine and a year in jail? But for shooting a girl on a wharf who dies in her father's arms and says, Daddy, help me, he walked out smiling like in The Godfather. Yeah. A couple of other things that are bothering me that I want to talk about. What is talk radio, actually, when you think about it? What do we get paid to do? Think about it. Does anyone ever step back from the microphone, all these high-paid talk stars? They ever step back and say, wait a minute, what am I being paid to do? To talk about Mueller day and night, Trump day and night? I'd rather cut my wrists than talk about Trump anymore. I can't take it anymore. I didn't 5 million years of evolution for me to evolve as a human being to talk about Donald Trump and Mueller. I'm not doing it. I'm rebelling against it. Because if I start talking about that, I'll go right down the rat hole of how could he be giving up all of the wildlands of the West to the greedy pigs who are going to chop down the trees and mine the earth and disturb all the Native American burial grounds. You want me to support that garbage? I'm not going to do it. And by the way, since I'm going down the rat hole of disgust and contempt for the downturn in this nation, you remember a few weeks ago I led the charge against importing elephant trophies, lion trophies from Africa, and Trump finally came to his senses and said he's going to look into that thing. Well, I don't see any final judgment on that thing. You all forgot it already? The elephant killers, the lion killers, the ape killers, the rhino killers, what they get to him again? So what am I paid to do on radio? Agitate myself and you? Am I just a paid agitator? My job is to somehow elevate the dialogue in America. You think I'm talking down to the audience, you're wrong. I've had enough of this garbage of just simply saluting Republicans, Donald Trump. First of all, I never did it. I'm an independent. Secondly, I don't like the direction the country's going in.
Church bells may ring, church bells may ring, church bells may ring.
All right, welcome back. I'm ringing my little mini Liberty Bell here on the Savage Nation. All right, turn off the church bells may ring. We have something to celebrate at last. Supreme Court, within the last hour, ruled with allowing a full enforcement of the Trump travel ban from Muslim countries. We finally got something he promised. The Supreme Court is allowing the Trump administration to fully enforce a ban on travel to the United States by residents of 6 mostly Muslim countries. The justices, with 2 dissenting votes, you don't have to think too hard to figure out who that is, said today that the policy can take full effect even as legal challenges against it make their way through the courts. This is an enormous win. And this action suggests that the Supreme Court will likely uphold the latest version of the ban that Trump announced in September. The ban applies to people wanting to come into this country from Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. Lower courts, and of course that has a double meaning, lower courts had said people from those nations with a claim of a bona fide relationship with someone in the U.S. could not be kept out of the country. What a crock that was. Grandparents, cousins, over there everyone's a cousin, and other relatives were among those courts, those that the court said could not be excluded. Well, now they are excluded. Keep your grandparent, your cousins, and your relatives where they belong. We don't need them over here. We don't know what they're hiding under their persona. Take a guess who dissented. Ruth Bader Bad Girl Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor would have left the lower court orders in place. Sonia Sotomayor, the wise Latina. The San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Schlemiels and the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Schlemiels in Richmond, Virginia, will be holding arguments on the legality of the ban this week. It doesn't matter what they do, because it's going to go back to the Supreme Court and decide it by the end of June. So it looks like we got one big victory here. So the ACLU can now take a walk. If they don't like it, they can move to Syria. And with all the good friends from Chad and Syria, they can go over there with them. They're marching. No Muslim ban, no Muslim ban. Yeah. We're all immigrants. We've heard this before. My grandfather came here, he didn't blow anybody up in a marketplace. My grandfather came over, he didn't get a car and run down passengers and people in the street. Don't tell me we're all immigrants. We've been overrun. So Supremes allow full travel ban. What a great victory this is. A huge victory for all of us. Thank God. Phone number here is 855-407-282. From the savage nation to the indignant nation in one administration. You can read that 2 ways, by the way. Now, when you think about it, it's not really one-sided. It's actually quite okay? That's a big topic. Let me see what I have for you in the sound bin that I haven't used yet. Going back again to the, going back to the Steinle verdict. Here is the acting director of ICE, Tom Homan, who says the right thing in 02. Please.
Well, I actually sat there stunned for a good 15, 20 minutes. It sickened me. This isn't the America I grew up in. For a city to knowingly release a public safety threat back into the public, it's just ridiculous. Let's think about this for a minute. Sanctuary cities, they're suing the Department of Justice to get their funding from the federal government. So they want to fund sanctuary cities to keep illegal aliens in, but they don't want to fund a border wall to keep them out. To me, that's backwards.
Good for you. So we have a great ICE director, good for him, someone to stand up to the illegal alien mafia. But, of course, not to be outdone is California State Senator Scott Wiener, whoever he is, who then takes Trump's outrage over the Kate Steinle tragedy and tries to turn it against Donald Trump. You know what, Wiener, whoever you are a disgrace not only to the Democrat Party, you're a disgrace to all Californians. Listen to clip 3.
People have every right to criticize the jury verdict, to express those views. But what the president is doing is using this family's and this community's horrible tragedy to fan the flame of hatred against immigrants.
You're a lying old sneaker. You're as dirty as a shoe that just walked through a sewer. State Senator Scott Wiener. What are you? Anyway, those are some of the things. So how do you feel? How do you feel about the Supreme Court allowing a full travel ban? You have any comment on that? It's a big deal. Well, if you don't want to talk about that, we can always go back to Maxine the Bug Job Waters, who hasn't stopped saying impeach, impeach, impeach. So let's have some fun. Just as Nancy Pelosi is famous for a face freeze, Maxine Waters is famous for a thought freeze. She can't stop it with the impeach. Here she is, the nut job, Maxine Waters in 06.
I think it's going to be hard for the Republicans to continue to be silent and to be standing with this president as it unfolds. This is the tip of the iceberg. There's lots more to come, and I think it's going to lead right to not only collusion, obstruction of justice, money laundering. It goes on and on and on.
Well, now, speaking of money laundering, Congresswoman Waters, would you care to tell the American people about your tenure in Congress when your husband ran a savings and loan bank and you were mandated to give loans to minority-owned banks and only your husband's bank received $12 million? Would you care to talk about money laundering in that regard, Miss Waters? Would that be something we might be able to hear about, Miss Waters? I guess not. And now, of course, here is the Queen of Diamonds, Dianne Feinstein, and I caution you as you listen to the next soundbite to think of the adage, those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. I want you to listen to Feinstein in 08.
The concern rises with the day. The concern about this White House. I've been here for 25 years now.
Big deal.
There is a kind of instability, unpredictability.
Here we go.
It's one issue after the other. We've got major problems in the world with our allies now, in the Middle East, with North Korea. It goes on and on. And I think that this president is just precipitating more and more angst that's going to lead to serious discord.
She said nothing, in other words. She got the word angst in there and discord. But, you know, Diane, many of us are asking ourselves some questions about you and steering contracts. We've never gotten adequate answers to these concerns of ours. And we know that you hold on to your job, as does Nancy Pelosi, the fine congresswoman from Pacific Heights, as to why you are so in love with illegal aliens and why you said nothing about Kate Steinle's murderer walking free. So before you start talking about Donald Trump, why don't you take a good long look in the mirror, Dianne Feinstein, and realize that the Queen has no clothes? Okay, we will move on. Let's see what else is in the news that we can talk about in the Savage Nation. Here's the local newspaper in San Francisco, the land where an illegal alien can kill a young girl and get away with murder. Supreme Court allows full enforcement of Trump travel ban. Oh, my. Oh, my goodness. We can't have that, can we? Let us go to michaelsavage.com. Top left, Supreme Court allows full enforcement of Trump travel ban. Boo-hoo-hoo. I guess all the college campuses will erupt right now because they need more Muslims, not less. Trump announces plan to shrink 2 national monuments. Bad move. Fake IRS agents collected $666,000, prosecutors say. ISIS released horrifying execution video showing Syrian Air Force pilot captured 18 months ago burned alive. You don't care much about that. What you care about is someone looking at a woman the wrong way. Gay wedding cake controversy heads to Supreme Court. Oh, that should be a good one tomorrow. I think we know which way the Supreme Court is heading right now, right? Ex-Democratic Rep. Corrine Brown sentenced to 5 years in prison for fraud charges. Wow. Whew. How'd that happen? Schumer and Pelosi will meet with Trump after canceling previous meeting. I wonder why. California Assemblyman accused of forcing lobbyist into bathroom and masturbating. I'm sorry, I have to stop on that again. Again, I have to go back to my own knowledge of men and the guys I've known. Sacramento lobbyist Pamela Lopez has claimed that in 2016, Democratic Assemblyman Matt Dababner followed her into a bathroom, masturbated in front of her, and urged her to touch him. Oh, please. Dababner has strongly denied the allegation. It was Matt Dababner, Lopez told the Times in a November interview. Now, I don't understand this story for one reason. I've known men. I've asked men. I've asked producers or young men, have they ever known a man to do anything like that? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it seems every one of these cases of sexual harassment is a masturbator. What is this about? Is there a doctor out there who can explain to me what this is about? I've never heard of it. I only had one guy I knew even closely approximating this kind of situation. I told you about it. He was a real schlemiel of a guy that nobody would go out with. And he went to a party. I told it to you in hour 1. I'll tell it to you in hour 3. And he did exhibit himself. He displayed his thing. And he turned to a girl he didn't know, and he said, do you know what this is? And she looked at him, looked down on him with contempt, and said, oh, yes, that's a penis, but smaller. Well, when we heard that, we all laughed at him. We thought it was the funniest thing we'd ever heard in our life, that some girl put him where he belonged, which is like, in a nowhereville. But $30 million for doing that? I don't understand that part of it, other than Shakespeare knew all about lawyers. That's all. Well, these stories and more can be found on michaelsavage.com. God, Faith, and Reason is certainly something for us to talk about at any time you want. For my people is foolish, they know not me. They are sottish children, and they have no understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Jeremiah 4:22. It's all in God, Faith, and Reason. Why would you recommend someone buy this book? I'm allowed to ask that, because if I'm not for me, who will be? Fox News will be? Rush Limbaugh will be? Well, who will be if me? If I don't tell you about it, who's going to tell you about it? Rush Limbaugh the fair? King Limbaugh the fair one? He's never mentioned Michael Savage because I'm a competitor of his. We all compete with each other. There is no unity amongst talk radio hosts. Do you understand that? The only unity that you'll find in talk radio hosts is when they share an agent. If you'd like to know more about that, I'll be happy to tell you about it one day. I don't have to share an agent with any of them because I have no agent. I've represented myself from the beginning. That's all. What else is in the news? Let's go to USA Away. Here, let's see. Supreme Court allows travel ban to take effect. Again, Muslim love. No limit to Muslim love in these left-wing newspapers. Why are they so in love with Islam? Can you figure that out? They hate Christianity. They hate churches. They hate God. They hate families. Why are they so in love with Islam and Muslims? Can anyone explain that to me? What happened to these newspapers? Let us see. I don't know, some of this other stuff I don't really relate to very well. I don't think you will. Sexual harassment used to cost women their careers. That may be changing. What does that mean? What if a woman harasses a man? What if a woman harasses another woman? They do that. It does happen. How come we haven't seen or heard of one case of female-to-female harassment? Can anyone explain it? Answer, because they're driving this entire narrative, in my estimation. Any other questions? Because I got the answers. I'll be right back. Be here. It is 53 minutes after the hour, still going strong. David Damian Mattia says on my Twitter account, Dr. S., you are like a tenacious lighthouse on the hill, a beacon that leads us through swift and menacing currents. God bless you and your family, and, of course, Teddy. That's very sweet. Thank you, David. I'm glad someone appreciates me. So we're celebrating the Muslim ban today. Thank God it's what we voted for, and there's a good reason for it. Not because we're racist. We're realists, and we really do want to survive. We just figured that a certain number of them and a higher number of them from Muslim countries, those named in that ban, a higher number of them are liable to set off a bomb in your daughter's schoolyard than people from Ireland. Let's put it to you that way. Make it real simple. Let's stop talking in circles. Let's just say through what we see going on in the world, in Syria, Iran, Afghanistan, it's more highly likely that someone from one of these Muslim countries that is no longer allowed to come step on us over here, it's more likely they're going to set off a bomb in your daughter's schoolyard than someone from Ireland. If it doesn't make sense to you, then you're sick and I can't help you. If you don't understand the realities of what I just said, and you can't put your politics behind you and put your survival ahead of you, I can't help you. So the travel ban's upheld. Supremes allow full travel ban. This is a huge victory, not only for common sense and for our safety, but it's also an indicator that the two men that Mr. Trump put on the Supreme Court are definitely going to do the right thing. And they're countering the psychotic liberal bias that we have lived with all of these years. Let's see. President Trump's anti-Muslim prejudice is no secret. He has repeatedly confirmed it, including just last week on Twitter. It's unfortunate the full ban can move forward for now, but this order does not address the merits of our claims, said Omar Jadwat, director of the ACLU Immigrant Rights Project. Now, what more do I need to say about the ACLU than they gave Colin Kaepernick an award for confronting systemic oppression? Can anyone listening to this show tell me how Colin Kaepernick has been oppressed? Can anyone listening to this show tell me that this is not the height of insanity? To give Colin Kaepernick an award because he's talking about, quote, systemic oppression when he made something like, what, $6 to $11 million last year? When was he oppressed? What did I miss about Colin Pimpleneck? Tell me what I missed. 2 justices, Ruth Bader Badgerd, Ruth Bader Badgerd, and Sonia Sotomayor, disagreed with the court orders allowing the latest policy to take full effect. The ban of Muslims applies to travelers from Chad. You know anyone from Chad that we need? Iran? Anyone know from anyone from Iran we need here? Libya, you want some Libyans brought in maybe? Somalia, you want more Somalis brought in? Syrians you need? Yemenites? It's unbelievable to me. So, the relationships that existed are gone. Fantastic. Thank God. So the local crackpot judge in Hawaii now have to go find something else to destroy. And it looks to me like the Supreme Court is now clearly on the side of sanity and saving America. Supreme Court allows full enforcement of Trump travel ban. Read all about it on michaelsavage.com. Sign up for the free newsletter and check out a copy of God, Faith, and Reason.